Mic'd up.
Good evening once again, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Highlights from Lowlifes here on the Mic'd Up Network. We're glad you're joining us, assuming that you are. We have our usual cast of idiots tonight. Rob Weber, Jeff Jones, Marty Brown. Tiger Terry Lee is on assignment, so send your best thoughts and prayers to him as he camps somewhere in the unknown wilderness of the world. And anyway, enough of that. We're a bunch of guys that have played baseball together for many years. During COVID, we started doing happy hours discussing different topics, and it evolved into what you're watching right now. So welcome to An Excuse to Drink. So before we get started with tonight's topic, during the show, if you press that mic button down there, we'd love for you to interact with us. Crack wise, smart off, send in your top 5 most hated players of all time, which, by the way, is our topic tonight. Do whatever you want to. Send us some comments. Let's interact. Let's have a good time. So tonight, once again, we are talking top 5 most hated MLB players of all time. We expect there to be some fisticuffs before this is all said and done. So anyway, let's just dive right in. I think Marty Brown has been eagerly awaiting this moment all week. So, Marty, why don't you launch us?
Oops. Okay. All right.
The dog ate your homework?
How could you tell? I kept looking at my list, and it kind of sucks. So here it is, right there. See, there's the list. But there was one, and I put him at 5 because it's not a major thing. But there was one guy that I couldn't stand watching, simply because he was never on the same team. This gentleman was a pitcher who played for Detroit, the Angels, Tampa, Seattle, Arizona, San Diego, Miami. You can keep going. The Twins, Oakland, and finished his career with the Nationals. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. I just dropped my papers. I'm just going to show you. And you guys will all know who it is.
Fernando Rodney.
Yes! Yep. Yes! His whole career I kept yelling, straighten the bloody hat! Will you? Just once, straighten the bloody hat! I couldn't watch him. I really couldn't. No. So, anyway, that's number 5. Jeff, what's your number 5?
Wait.
What?
About Fernando.
Okay.
Wasn't he the guy when he got a save, he would shoot a fake arrow into the crowd?
Right, yeah. I think he thinks he was Cupid or something.
I always wanted the batter to do the same thing.
I think there's a reason they called him F-Rod.
Yes.
Just straighten the bloody hat. Jeez. Go ahead,
right.
Jeff.
So he was close to being on my list too. I couldn't stand the guy. But I'm going to go with the hitter that I can't stand. And it's because there's something in baseball. So, by the way, I stayed away from the super serious topics. There's a lot of guys I can't stand for super serious reasons. You know, the off the field stuff, the domestic stuff, all that other crap. And I stayed away from the big serious stuff. But this is the guy for me that started he didn't do it the first time. He wasn't the first to do this. But he was the one that he did it one time, and it got all the focus, and it seemed to be the way Major League covered baseball after that and the way fans reacted. And I'm talking about a bat flip. Jose Bautista. That one time he had the one bat flip and acted like he was the best thing that's ever played baseball ever. And ever since, it's been every batter's goal to get on ESPN doing a bat flip. So that is why I picked Jose Bautista at number 5.
You know that they have an ugly Christmas sweater that says Merry Flipping Christmas, and it has them all spun up with the bat falling out of the hand.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of want it.
You can have it.
Yeah.
Weber.
All right. I have a special place in my heart for guys that think they're really good and they're not. Niger Morgan. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
remember him.
Yeah.
Many people won't remember him because he was just a blip on Major League's radar. But I don't know. I think you need to earn a nickname. He created his own nickname for himself. His name is Niger Morgan, so of course his nickname was Tony Plush. Okay, why do I care that you created a nickname for yourself and called yourself Tony Plush? I don't understand. This guy could not stand to be criticized. He had temper tantrums on the field all the time. Was fined a half dozen times for throwing baseballs at fans in the stands and hitting them. To me, I'm going, why does Major League Baseball even allow this guy to remain on the
to
field?
suit up? Yeah.
But I guess it could have been entertaining in its own right. I remember watching a game. Adam Jones was hitting for the Orioles, and he hit a routine fly ball to Niger Morgan in the outfield, and Niger missed it completely. It didn't even hit his glove. His reaction was to take his glove off and throw it at the ground like a 2-year-old would. And meanwhile, Jones ran around the bases with an inside the park home run.
Yeah.
I always said the best thing that could have happened to Niger Morgan was Billy Martin. To have Billy Martin come and drag him off the field and say, "What the heck are you doing? Get the hell out of here!" So that's my number 5, Niger Morgan.
Nice.
Good pick.
All right. I'm hoping that I'm setting up Marty for his next pick. My number 5 pick, how do you say it? Started it all. And I'm talking about 1987. Will Clark slides into second base, on the base, I might add, to break up a double play. Clean play, spikes down, slid hard.
Yeah.
Jose Akendo walks up to Will Clark and slaps him in the back of the head. And that started the big brawl where Ozzie Smith sucker punched Will Clark, the whole thing. But Jose Akendo, what a little wiener. I just could never take that guy after that.
Hey.
Now-
Tune down the swear words.
Well, I meant in the sense like an armor hot dog. That guy, and I saw him do other little cheap shit things the rest of his career. He would slide spikes high, but if somebody did it to him, he always got upset. So yeah, Jose Akendo, what a punk.
And I will follow up with that. Yes.
So I feel like we need to immediately go to Marty
at a later. No, it's at a later moment. We're doing this. We're doing this thing sequentially. So
fair enough.
Yeah. I'm using a big word, sequentially. You like that?
Sequentially.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then in that case, let's go to Jonesy.
All right, number 4. This guy started what was going on in the 80s and 90s that led to the steroid era, at least for me. And I don't feel like he ever showed any remorse about anything he did about using or talking about using or anybody else he talked about. Jose Canseco. I just felt the guy played for himself and only himself, and that's all he cared about. And he did damage all over the place and left a trail and didn't care about who he took down with him.
Yeah.
So that was my only really serious one, is Jose Canseco.
I have a good Jose Canseco story if we have time before the end of the show.
All right.
I think you'll get a kick out of.
Then why don't you go with your number 4 pick?
All right. Okay. My number 4 pick is I remember exactly where I was when I heard this because I was driving in the car. It was in October 15th, 1988. I used to referee football, and I was driving back from a football game to catch the end of the World Series game between the Oakland A's and the Dodgers. And that son of a gun with the limp. See, I'm getting better. See, that son of a gun with the limp strode up to the plate, and Dennis Eckersley was just beating everybody under the sun. This was wrapped up. This was done. I was feeling pretty good until I heard on the radio, "Oh my God!" And the funny thing, ironically, I didn't put this together, but Rodney was doing this, right? Now here's Gibson doing this as he's running around the back. I mean, I don't know what it is with the arm thing today, but anyway. Kirk Gibson is notorious for ruining everything about the dynasty of the A's. So, but it was a great moment in baseball. But it did. The real sad part. I can even deal with the Dodgers winning, but not Tommy Lasorda. I'm sorry. No. Sorry.
So it's not Eckersley's fault for throwing 11 sliders in a row to the same spot to a one-legged guy.
Oh, now you're just splitting hairs. I mean, Weber, take it away.
All right. In doing my research for this very important topic, I knew I hated this guy, but realized that he was actually worse than I thought he was when I did my research. Albert Bell.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Albert, or Joey, as he is sometimes referred to, you guys all remember the story of the corked bat, where he got caught using a corked bat during the game. and then had some bat boys sneak into the clubhouse and try to retrieve the bat before the umpires could get to this. All this.
Right.
And then as Jeff said, pointing at the it's me, it's the muscle and all this stuff, and treating writers like terrible people and stuff like that. But what I learned in my research was one time at Halloween, and I bring that up because it's almost Halloween. Some kids came by and threw eggs at Albert's house, and he got in his car and drove them down.
Nice.
So it really drove him up in my mind as being one of my hated guys. So he is my number 4 pick, Albert Joey Bell. All right. Let's see. Jeff, right?
I've already gotten Robbie.
I think Robbie's left.
Hey, that would be me.
Yep.
All right. I've got a theme, I think, for the rest of mine. This next guy tried to be the all-American boy at every turn, always tried to do the right thing, say the right thing, put on the happy face, the perfect hair, the perfect outfit. No clip-ons for him, real ties. And
hey!
Then was caught in numerous adultery incidents. But my favorite reason to hate him is that Jay Johnstone, classic legendary prankster, once put a brownie in this guy's glove. A hot melted chocolate brownie in the guy's glove. And he was known for having his uniform. Before they would go back on the defense, he would tuck his jersey in just right. Everything had to be perfect as he ran on the field, angled the cap. And he ran out there, carried his glove out, put his glove in at first, or his hand into the glove at first base. And all that chocolate got all over everywhere. And of course, he pulled it out and started flicking it off, the whole thing. Well, Jay Johnstone had wiped his hands unknowingly to Jerry Royce on his sleeve and on his pants and everything else. So Steve Garvey blew a gasket and ran into the dugout and started wailing on Jerry Royce. Had nothing to do with it and knew nothing about it. But the fact that the guy would blow a gasket over something like that and just actually start beating on a guy is
wow.
Great reason to hate Steve Garvey.
If you guys did that to me, I'd come after you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, You'd be laughing the whole time. I mean, I love the part that that Jay Johnstone wiped his hands on Jerry Royce so it would look like Royce did it. Hilarious stuff. Right up until the beatdown. But yeah, Steve Garvey, never liked the guy.
Yeah.
All right, that's round 4, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That went quick. I guess that brings us to our favorite topic. What you drinking?
Hey!
Yeah, unbelievable, but it's happening again. Still sponsored by Almanac Brewing. We're happy to be here. Rob may not be so happy tonight, but Almanac Brewing, California's leading craft brewer, in our opinion anyway, and Alameda, California, they love having visitors. I'm drinking the Rocktoberfest tonight because 'tis the season. Looks like Marty's joining me too in that.
All right, if you insist.
I'm
Jeff?
sticking with the tried and true Kolsch.
True Blue Kolsch.
Yep.
And Rob, I think we have a special beer tonight for you. This is hand selected by the brewmaster for you specifically.
Okay. This is called Almanac's Distance to the Sun Sparkling Ale. This ale is brewed with passion fruit and pineapple. It's described as fruity, tart, and juicy. So,
Where's
here
Dave Hall
we
when
go.
you need him?
Okay, this is up there with the cherry sour so far.
You're saying it's better than the name would imply.
It is. It is.
You're one great pitch man.
It is.
I will say it's a lot more refreshing than the coffee stout I've been drinking the last couple of weeks. So,
All right. Well, that's a ringing endorsement for the sparkling ale with passion fruit and melon and pineapple from Rob Weber. So,
yeah.
No melons.
Almanac Brewing.
No melons.
Almanac Brewing, you can find it in all your best craft beer stores. And if you happen to be in Alameda, drop in and tell them the Lowlifes sent you. You'll have some highlights poured for you fresh on tap. So cheers to Almanac.
Here's Almanac.
Cheers, Almanac. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we can turn the corner and go into the middle here. Round 3.
I think Rob's been punished enough. He should be rewarded with the first one of number 3.
Excellent call. I'm all in on that.
All right. So I when I'm putting these together, I don't care if they're on my favorite team. If they're a bad person, they're a bad person. Which brings me to number 3, AJ Przinsky.
He took mine. He was on my list.
He has to be in there somewhere.
I had the pleasure of seeing him at spring training once when he first came over to the Giants, and AJ had the unfortunate circumstance of taking a foul ball off the nether regions, and he was down and he was in pain. And the Giants trainers went out to see if he needed any help, as they should do. They asked him how he was feeling, and his response was to kick the trainer in the nether region. So that the trainer could feel the same pain that he was feeling. And we all saw this live at a spring training game. And that's when I knew this is not a good person. This is just not somebody I want to associate with. So a few weeks later, I'm talking to my mom, who's she's living out in Hawaii, and she is driving a beverage cart on a golf course. And she's got a bunch of Major League Baseball players that are in some kind of a tournament. And I mentioned the AJ Przinsky story, and she says, "Oh yeah, I remember him. He came over here during the winter and decided to drive his golf cart across the green."
Of course he did.
Of course, he's a Major League ball player, and he can do whatever he wants. and so he did quite a bit of damage on that. And yeah, I don't know if they went after him or anything, but talk about somebody that felt they were very privileged and could do whatever they want. That would be AJ Przinsky. So he's number 3 for me. All right.
We got
Marty.
wait. We got a
Wait.
comment, and we got a timely comment in from Avani.
Webby, yours needs
Uh-oh.
a shot of rum, doesn't it? Webby, yours needs a shot of rum, doesn't it?
Yes. And fortunately, I have a bottle of rum right here.
What a call. What a call.
All right, Marty.
All right.
Number 3.
All right. So previously from what Rob was saying, I'll flip number 3 and number 2. But we let's go back to that fateful day in Candlestick Park with Will Clark sliding into second against the Cardinals, and there Mr. Oquendo was showing his stature. Let's not forget the shortstop on that play, who had nothing to do with the play. Walked up. Now, you got to remember that at the beginning, Clark was on the ground. And Oquendo's looking down at him, and Ozzy's looking down at him, and Ozzy kicks him. He just walks over and kicks him. Now the ball starts out, and and then Clark is now engaged with, was it Oquendo? But here comes Mr. Cheap Shot again, throwing this haymaker at the back of the head of Will Clark. And I thought, he has no business being there. So not one shot, but 2 shots. And somebody ought to teach this guy a lesson. Excuse me. And thank God. Who was it? I forget the name right now.
Candy Maldonado.
Caldermano took him out like a linebacker from Cleveland Browns. Boom!
Maldonado's greatest hit as a Giant.
Yes, exactly. And it was terrific. And I thought, okay, all right, maybe. But Ozzie Smith is number 3. There you go. The cheap shot, Ozzie Smith.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks. Jeff, go ahead.
I'm going to go with a guy who he's the good ball player that has a chip on his shoulder, especially when he's playing your team. And he's really good against your team, and you really want to hate him, and you hate him all the time. But he's also one of those guys that if he was on your team, you would take him in a heartbeat. Guy that Giants fans have been dealing with for the last umpteen years, Clayton Kershaw. God, I can't stand that guy because he's so good and he knows it. But if he was drafted as a Giant, he would be as revered as Bumgarner.
Who is not very revered anymore.
Not anymore, but he was for a long time.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
So mine is Clayton Kershaw.
Okay. We're getting a predominance of Dodgers here. How's that? Interesting. Shocking.
And I believe that leaves you, Robbie.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go with another Dodger pitcher who pitched for 1 year.
Imagine that.
Shocking. Pitched 1 year with the Giants. I never could stand the guy. I thought he was just as smug as his manager, Tommy Lasorda. I never liked listening to him talk. I always said that his name, Oral Hershiser, translated from German to mouthful of horse. You know what? I can't point to a specific incident that he ever acted like a jerk, but there was just something about that guy. You know, they do the name the most punchable face in America, like Oral Hershiser.
That's me with Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, and even when he was with the Giants, he's the only Giant I ever outwardly booed. he pitched a couple of good games that I was at, and that just pissed me off more than anything. I wanted to see that guy fail whenever I could. So yeah, Oral Hershiser, that's mine.
Nice.
Mouthful of horseshoe. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Are you sure about that translation? Are you sure about that translation?
based on my extensive German language knowledge that I developed watching Hogan's Heroes when I was 6, nearly positive that is
Yeah.
proof.
and drinking Oktoberfest beer. So there you go.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's turn the corner and hit number 2. I'll go ahead and start with this one.
All right.
This guy could hit. Not a great fielder, pretty good hitter, but he's one of those guys that acted like a tough guy after somebody got a hold of him. Like he would walk slowly towards the mound until the catcher got in front of him, and then he would go crazy and go ballistic every time. And Pedro freaking Guerrero.
Another former Dodger.
Yeah, I'm saying shocking a lot. I used to hate how he would do that. He'd walk slowly up the first baseline, maybe out towards the pitcher a little bit. And as soon as somebody got a hold of him, when he knew nothing bad could happen to him, then he would go crazy. He'd throw his helmet off and he'd like, let me at him. And I remember a game, I think the Dodgers were playing the Cardinals, and I think John Tudor hit him. And he did that whole thing. And then whoever was the catcher, like, stepped aside. And all of a sudden, Pedro Guerrero's like, I'll just go to first. As soon as the catcher let him go, he just went back to first base, and all of a sudden he was calm again. So that guy was a poser. I hated him. Pedro Guerrero.
Nice.
Webby, why don't you go?
All right. I know that we're probably going to have a very long honorable mention section on this stuff. And like Jeff, there's a whole group of people that I can't stand because they've cheated the game or they've done some off-field things that are just reprehensible. But I'm going to stick with on-field stuff. And I know this was one of the greatest ball players of all time. All you got to do is ask him, Ricky Henderson.
Thought you were going a different way than that with that one.
I mean, I have friends that can do the on-field speech when he broke Lou Brock's record. They've got the cadence down to a perfection where they, I am the greatest of all time.
And don't forget that he said Lou Brock was the greatest.
Yeah,
now I am the greatest.
Yeah.
Of all time.
And then if any of you ever in front of me started talking in the third person, I would look at you like you were from another planet. Who talks like that?
Yeah.
And I think it was upsetting to see that because he would. It sounded as like he was revering himself. Ricky is so great. Ricky is this.
Yeah.
Ricky is that. Look at me. I'm Ricky. I just got tired of listening to it after a while. But I think the thing that put me over the top with him is this guy played in the major leagues for a long time on a lot of different teams. He had some teammates that he played with 3 or 4 times because he kept going back through those teams. There are guys that he played with for years and he doesn't remember them.
That's one of my favorite baseball stories. Josie's heard me tell this a dozen times. You know the John Olerud story?
It well.
The John Olerud story. Ricky played in Toronto with Olerud. The next year, they both were with the Mets. And remember, Olerud used to have to wear a helmet in the field because he had that soft spot or whatever in his head, and he couldn't take a direct hit. They were out there warming up in spring training, and Ricky came up to him and goes, I played with a guy in Toronto last year that had to wear a helmet in the field too. And Olerud goes, yeah, that was me.
So I'm thinking about this, going, is that the kind of teammate you want? The kind of teammate that doesn't really even know you're on the field with them. Again, he was a great player, but not a very good person. Not somebody that I think would be somebody I would spend a lot of time with. So yeah, he's number 2 for me.
Can I? Jim Darby, one of our fellow show hosts, I was listening to one of his broadcasts. This was about maybe a month ago. That he worked with Ricky Henderson, and Ricky Henderson went to Japan, I think. So, yeah, foreign country, and they asked Darby to come along because Darby was the interpreter. They spoke English, but they didn't understand Ricky Ease. And so Darby was the interpreter. He literally states on the show he was the interpreter.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one of you two mooks is up.
I'll go. I never like a guy who cheated, and I never like a guy who acted like he didn't cheat and got arrogant about being accused of cheating, and then got even more arrogant about it when he got called out and caught and still acted that way. From the Houston Astros, second baseman Jose Altuve. That guy has such cojones to act as he did nothing wrong, even though everybody has said he did something wrong.
And he went from being a beloved player, like the short guy.
Yeah, the little guy who could.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
To no wonder he's doing that. And do you remember the time he hit a home run and he was rounding third and everybody was starting to tear his clothes off and he went, no, don't do it, don't do it. Because he had some device on him that was supposedly signaling him. So, yeah, ever since then, can't stand him. Jose Altuve. And I think that leaves Marty.
What? A beloved, well, maybe not beloved, a legend of the game that I've done some digging around with because he was a good friend with one of my legendary heroes, Joe Jackson, was Ty Cobb. And we all know the stories about Ty Cobb being super aggressive and some of the things that were iffy.
Yeah.
He sharpened his spikes, or he slides into people with the spikes high or something like that. But he made the list when I was doing some research about the time he went into the stands and beat somebody up in the stands.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that's not bad enough. This was a disabled person in the stands. The guy didn't have any hands. Now, and the story goes that he was heckling Cobb, but Cobb went into the stands, started kicking him and beating the hell out of him, and he only stopped until the cop showed up. And one of there's somebody yelled out, he doesn't have any hands. And I said, I don't care if he doesn't have any feet, and then kicked him again. Now, again, this was back in 1915. Stories are told, stories are elaborated, and the whole bit. But if this is even half-assed true about Ty Cobb, he deserves to be on the list. So there you go.
Agreed.
There you go.
Yep.
So is that everybody?
I think that finishes round 2.
Oh, terrific.
Round 2. So
all right.
For a moment, if you guys need to offload, reload, or anything, this is a great time because Rob's going to talk to us about the other shows that are on Mic'd Up, and we're all pretty familiar with them, but some of our audience members may not be. So hopefully Rob can briefly run you through a quick recap of who's out there and what's available on Mic'd Up.
Will do.
Terrific.
All right. Let's start off with NBA Hall of Famer Rick Barry. Rick Barry has a show with his co-host Cyrus. They're not on a regular schedule, but if you follow them on the app, you should get notifications when they have a show. And they cover all topics basketball related. Rick is still very plugged into what's going on with the Warriors and tells great stories about the old days. And As we've said before, Rick has an opinion and is not afraid to share it. So I think you'd enjoy the show. His co-host Cyrus will take in questions from folks on the live calls, and um, Rick has some pretty good answers for those questions. So look for that show. Leon Bip Roberts has a show called Bips Blips, which is had been on a regular schedule. Bip has been doing some traveling with both the A's and Giants for Comcast and hasn't been available to do his shows. But he's planning on coming back on the platform. He usually does 30 to 60 minutes and talks everything baseball. It's an enjoyable show, and he does interact with the fans quite a bit. So I think you'd enjoy that. So look for Bips Blips. Let's see, John Rieger, who is a PGA professional, but his show is about the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, and he has folks who played collegiately or professionally in Florida, and has them on the show. He's had Fred Biletnikoff recently, and he'll have Wade Boggs, I believe, is coming up next week.
It's not Wayne Boggs?
It's not Wayne Boggs. It's Wade Boggs. Yeah. Wayne is Wade's brother.
Yeah, I kind of screwed that up last week.
Noted with an asterisk.
Sorry.
My friend Jim Darby has a show on here. We mentioned Jim earlier. Jim is a former executive with Easton Sports, and he has a book out called Bears and the Bigs. It's about Cal Bears who've made it to the major leagues. Jim's show usually consists of covering one or two of those personalities during the show, and then gives his take on what's going on in sports. I think you'd enjoy that one. That's a half hour, and Jim usually does a weekly show. It's usually on Wednesdays. So take a look for Jim. And then finally, there's a new show called The Pitcher's Mind. I've done a little research to find out a little bit about this. It's a collaboration between Mike Nisko from the Pitcher's Shop and Greg Moore, who's a baseball coach at St. Mary's College. And they have a show that they talk about pitching. It's appropriate for all levels of the game. It's more about what your thought process should be as you're approaching different parts of pitching, different game situations, what types of pitches are good for what types of arms, a little bit of everything. It's a good show. They have been on the air for about 3 weeks now, so give it a look. It's about a half hour long. So those are the main ones on the platform, and there's some more shows coming up soon. So get onto the Mic'd Up app and look for the upcoming schedule. All right.
Sounds good.
Hey, everybody. Reminder, if you're watching us live on Mic'd Up, you should be calling in. This is a contentious topic, so let's have some.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's have some verbal sparring here, if we shall. Let's make this work for us. Come on now.
Keep the language clean.
Cleanish.
Wait a minute.
Oh man. All right, let's get number one started. Anybody feeling like leading off here?
Sure.
Ooh. Okay, Jonesy.
Well, you want to keep it clean.
Ish.
I'm going to go borderline.
Attaboy.
You will know why when I say it. Every once in a while, something happens to your team and your fandom that just obliterates you. Like Marty mentioned, Kirk Gibson. You know, those type of moments. Well, it wasn't my direct fandom, but it was my indirect fandom because of my mom. And once I say the name, you will understand. Bucky effin' Dent.
Yeah.
That lived in the hearts, the broken hearts of Red Sox fans for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Like still.
Oh yeah.
It's not a very long time. It's still.
Now I believe since 2004 when Red Sox won, Bucky can actually walk in Boston now. But before that, I don't think he could.
Incognito, of course.
Yes.
He has a special nickname in Boston for sure.
Yes, and it is not allowed on this app, so I abbreviated. So, yeah, Bucky Dent.
You know, I saw a Rangers game at the original Arlington Stadium when Bucky Dent was playing for him, and he used to drive me nuts. I guess it's not so much that I hate Bucky Dent, but I hate the announcer as much as I hate Bucky Dent, I guess, really.
Yeah.
But the announcer in Texas back at that time would go, now batting, Bucky Dent!
Now, if he added the middle name in there, that would have been good.
I don't think he was effing. Oh, yeah, he was close to effing at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
God, I hated the way that guy would say the name. Oh, brutal. Good.
All right. I'll go to Webby.
All right. So you've mentioned Bucky Dent and Marty's mentioned Kurt Gibson, and I got no problem with those guys. What are they supposed to do? Lay down and not try? No. Okay. They played the game and they hit a home run. So my hated list is always about guys that I hate because of who they are and what they do. Not what their performance is on the field. And we had a discussion about this topic, and we decided it should be players only, and that we would have future shows that talk about maybe managers or coaches or other personalities in the game. So I'm going to cheat. Tommy Lasorda did play.
Another Dodger. Imagine that.
A cup of coffee.
I believe he never won a game in the big leagues. So I don't know. The reason I hate him is not because he managed the Dodgers. The Dodgers are a Major League Baseball team and they need a manager. Walter Alston was fine. He's a nice enough guy. But Tommy Lasorda, what a self-serving blowhard this guy was. Everything was about him. He's on the Hollywood stage at all times. Look at me. I'm walking here. I'm walking there. I got an entourage with me. I know Frank Sinatra. I know Tom Dreesen. I know all these show business people. I don't care, Tommy. You're supposed to be managing a baseball team. And by the way, your team every year is filled with superstars, filled with them. Just, couldn't have more talent. And you get all the credit. But, what great strategies did Tommy Lasorda bring to the Dodgers other than being a big cheerleader? I think a couple of the moments that I remember about him that I still laughed about to these days was the time that he came out on the field and the name on his back was misspelled as Lasadra. Everybody's laughing. He has no idea what's going on, and finally he finds out and he storms off the field. Probably took some equipment manager to task about it. But my all-time favorite time when Tommy Lasorda got his was in that All-Star game when he's coaching third base. And somebody hits a line drive down the third base side and just topples that fat tub of goo over.
Wasn't it a loose bat? Didn't the guy release the bat and the bat went flying and that's what hit him?
I mean, if it was me, there would be all kinds of equipment would be going down to third base. Yeah, that guy, he's everything that's bad about self-promotion and just a blowhard. And some of my Dodger fans would say, you need to be respectful of him. He's passed away. And I said, well, bad people die too. So yeah. I give you that. So he's the number one for me.
Thank
Nice.
you, Webby. You nailed number one.
He broke the rules. We're such the players, not managers. He broke the rules.
Yeah.
Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Had he have played, it would have been Joe Buck. But since he didn't play, this guy really bothered me because he could hit with power, he could run, he could definitely throw, great glove. I mean, everything you can be in baseball. And he pissed it away because of a really crappy attitude, a very self-centered approach to the game. Everything about him is just aggravating. And it sucks for those of us that would give our left leg, our heart, our soul, everything to play Major League Baseball and would have played our damnedest. This guy never tried once, just existed on talent, and even talent failed him eventually. Yasiel Puig.
There he is.
Yep.
God,
Yep.
I hate that guy.
Yep.
I hate him for how he acted on the field, and I hate him for not ever recognizing how blessed he was.
Yeah.
What a jackass.
Yep. Top of the honorable mention. Yep.
Yep. He's my most hated of all time.
Yep.
All right, Marty.
I'm going off the deep end with this because there's two culprits here, and one couldn't do it without. No, let's do it the other way. One couldn't do it without the other. The number one notorious player are pitchers.
Uh-oh.
And it's not all their fault because Major League Baseball decided to add the designated hitter. So those clowns and their antics, and I'll give you two specifics, would change immediately if they had to get into the batter's box and receive some of the crap that they put out. Let's go back to that World Series that was in a bubble. You weren't allowed to go. It was 2000, and it was Joe Kelly for the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing at Carlos Correa. Now, we talked about the Astros before, and I'm not going to get it. But Joe Kelly yapped and yapped and yapped. And here, all of a sudden, here comes all the teams that are milling around. What does Joe Kelly do? He runs to the dugout, but stands on the edge of the dugout, and now he's behind 5 or 6 Dodger players and starts screaming obscenities. You turkey. Get in the batter's box now in the next inning and see what happens to you. I was in Seattle about a month ago and went to a Mariners game against the Astros, and I had to look up to remember who this guy was. Hector Neres. He was a reliever for the Astros. Struck out Julio Rodriguez in a crucial moment of the game, and then started just taunting him. And again, the same exact thing. Get that son of a, I would.
Hey.
Designated hitter,
G-rated show.
I didn't say it. I didn't say anything. But the designated hitter allowed those clowns to get rid of a lot of antics that wouldn't happen in real baseball. And I think that's a real tragedy. And that would clean that up real fast if they took the first one right in the ear. But that's my number one notorious things. Pitchers. There you go. Jeff.
I'm done. I think that's it.
Really?
I think we're done.
It feels like there's a lot more guys to hate.
We scratched the surface of this.
I will go on my first honorable mention then and say,
please do.
Because we all, yeah, sure. Let's see if we get
callers, and then we'll come back to us because
sounds good.
I feel the rage building, and I want to get to the peak level. We're like even Ken Landreau, the nicest guy apparently that ever played baseball. He sucks. All right, J.C. Penney.
Hey.
Number 5, Don Drysdale. Orlando Cepeda said the trick was to hit him before he hit you. Number 4, Carlos Gomez, originator of the bat flip. Said once after it started a fight, those guys know I do it, so don't get upset by it. Number 3, Albert Bell. Omar Vizquel said stay away from him if he goes 0 for 3. 3 for 4, he pops out the last at bat, he will still flip the spread. A.J. Przinsky. Just shut up, A.J. Number 1, Ty Cobb, sharpened high spikes.
Flip
Pretty
the
good.
spread.
Let's
Smart
flip the
man.
spread.
I think the very important thing that JC has learned is he needs to talk as fast as Big Juicy.
Yes.
Our buddy Tiger checks in too.
This is Tiger from Monterey. Number
Bring in
5,
the energy.
Puig. Number 4, Puig. Number 3, Puig. Number 2, Puig. And number 1, Puig. See you guys.
Yay! Nicely done.
He's clearly at a bar. All right, let's see. One of our regulars, Vonnie, checks in.
Tonight's was a tough one because I have way too many on my list, so I guess I hate a lot of people. But number 5 would be Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod. Number 4 would be Jason Giambi. Number 3, Pete Rose. Number 2, Wade Boggs. And number 1, my most hated player of all time is the Dodgers. All of them. All year.
It's getting a little heavy-handed here, guys.
It's hard to argue with her logic.
Yeah.
Believe me. All right. Hammy checks in.
Number 5, Ricky Henderson. Hammy says that anybody who speaks about themselves in the third person belongs on this list. Number 4, Bill Buckner. The Red Sox fans still think he wears a scarlet E. Number 3, Milton Bradley. Anger management. That's all I can say until he was bought out by Hasbro. Number 2, A-Rod, an asshole on and off the field, bad teammate and overrated. And number 1, Ty Cobb, horrible person, violent, racist, basically Charles Manson of baseball.
Wow.
Hammy came in with 2 guns ablazing.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, we got Big Juicy.
Oh, yay.
So many you love to hate so little time. Okay, here we go. Number 5, Carl Mays, the only player responsible for the death of another player. Number 4, Albert Bell, volatile personality to say the least. Number 3, Trevor Bauer, his name says it all. Number 2, I'm not trying to fit in with nobody, Bryce Harper. And number 1, taking a little bit of license here with the topic of the day, Angel Hernandez, the umpire who recently sent Bryce Harper out of the game.
Well, there you go, Juicy. Hey, way to go, Juicy. Hey.
We got to do the umpire show.
Yeah. All right. Hey, so Hammy came back with another one, and to give you some context, he's going to play a couple of sound clips. 1, the movie that it's from, and then 2, he's going to play a sound clip from the guy that actually played the guy in the movie, actually talking about a true story. So this is pretty funny.
Brewers pitcher Willie Mueller, who played the Duke in Major League.
This guy threw at his own kid at a father-son game.
That's actually true.
Ever throw your kid?
Yeah.
Have you?
My son was in Little League, 13, 14-year-olds, and he would point, and I was throwing tennis balls one day. I said, Daniel, don't do that. Oh, I think it's funny to do. I said, don't do that. I said, I'll drill you. So I drilled him with the tennis ball.
Great backstory on that one. And then we got one more here. Vonnie's back.
So I thought I would do my honorable mentions as well. I have Mark McGuire, Bill Buckner, Derek Jeter, although he's a hard player, but he's I just can't. And Ricky Henderson. I have so many more, but I don't want to inundate and hog all of tonight's conversation.
She's more entertaining.
I think the quote, I just can't, fits for most of our lists.
And Vonnie, you're more entertaining than half the guys on these screens, so don't worry about it. Keep going. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming.
And the dog abides.
and the dog abides.
Yeah, I'm surprised this man didn't make it because he's the dumbest man on the face of the earth, John Rocker.
Oh yeah,
That was one I was gonna do, but I kept the serious stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what a
Honorable-
jeep.
yeah.
God. Okay.
Well, Jeff, that's a great segue. We wanted to do honorable mentions. Jeff couldn't wait a minute ago, so Jonesy, what do
I
you
am
got?
surprised he hasn't been mentioned before because he's ruffled our feathers for years. Manny Machado. Pompous, arrogant, talented MFer.
and is awful in the clutch in the playoffs. I did love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the clutch in the playoffs.
well, I know we don't. I mean, this is where the topic isn't as much fun, but it's hard to get away from the steroid stuff and the gambling stuff, and so I have to lump all these clowns into one group. Barry Bonds, Rafael Palmeiro, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens, and Pete Rose.
Yeah.
They've stained the game. Just watching the other night, they were doing for some reason some replay of the hearings that took place in Washington and the baseball players that got up there. Sosa's defense was to act like he didn't speak English all of a sudden.
For 68 home runs, he had a great answer for every press question.
Yeah. But my favorite is Palmeiro, who looks defiantly in the camera and points at everybody and says, I have never done this and I will never do that. It's outrageous for you to accuse me. And then 2 weeks later he gets caught. So
Yeah.
He's gotten what he deserves. He is completely ignored by the game of baseball now, which is what he deserves. So that ilk has, other than Rodriguez, you don't see too many of them in the public eye anymore, which is the right thing for baseball. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to continue on the serious stuff that didn't make the list, I got two. Chick Gandil, the ringleader of the Black Sox.
Black Sox, right.
And the man that I think is one of the key figures in holding back blacks getting into baseball, Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Yeah.
Cap Anson fits in there too.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I don't want to defend Landis, but he got a lot of pressure from all the owners too.
Oh yeah.
But but he was also on the board of the Negro Leagues are making us money by renting out our facilities, so there's another reason not to let them in.
Yep.
Got any, Marty?
I think we covered it. Thank you. Oh, can I tell you that Jose Canseco story? Because it's funnier than hell.
Yes.
Great.
I lived in Las Vegas, and Canseco lived there too. So I was flying back from Seattle to Las Vegas on Southwest Airlines. So everybody knows it's Cattle Car Airlines. And who's one of the last people on the plane? Jose Canseco. I couldn't believe, he's a very recognizable person. Walking right down the aisle, big man, still big, tall, big, sir. And what's left on the Southwest Airlines flight but that middle little seat. So he just sits in the middle seat on the other side of the plane, but a row behind me. You ever sit next to the guy who who thinks you sit next to him on a plane, you're best friends, and chat.
Yeah,
And again, they're right behind me.
Lanterman once, it was just like that.
All of a sudden, this guy on the aisle sits next to realizes after talking to Canseco, who wants nothing to do with him, that this is a Major League Baseball player. So this yappy guy has to tell the entire plane about this former Major League Baseball player he's sitting next to. And I just kind of turned around and looked, and the expression on Jose Canseco's face was, "Kill me now. Yes, get me out of here." it was kind of sad that here's this a great ball player, great stage, all this kind of stuff, is now in the middle seat on a Southwest airline flight, looking like he wants to die. So, oh well, what comes around goes around, right?
It is interesting. We went through all of our lists and several calls, and only one person mentioned Trevor Bauer. And I think Jeff's got it right. Some of this stuff is so over the top bad, you don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, society has handled this very well. That guy, he will never play in the big leagues ever again.
He's in Japan, I think. Yeah, he's out of the country.
From what it sounds like, he's not making any friends there either.
Right. And
okay.
Still hasn't accepted responsibility for anything.
Yeah.
So,
And he's not welcome back to Robin's Hoods, as I understand it either.
That's right.
Robin's
I'll never appear
It's a
on
fantasy
my
baseball reference.
squad ever again.
Well, you know what? I've got one, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. It just hit me, and he would have made my top 5 list. Chase friggin' Utley. He was just he's like the modern day Jose Akendo. He's just a bad dude. He cheated. The way he played was just dirty. Everything about him. I'm Chase freaking Utley. Yeah, he deserved to be a Dodger.
He's the guy that would go on the field and stir things up and then stand off to the side and watch to see what he'd done. Oh, look, that fight over there, I created that. Yeah, very, very proud of himself, And, they'd show him in the dugout afterwards. He's smiling and snickering with his teammates. But yeah, bad dude all around.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, that's a fun show. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Our shows are available not only here on the Mic'd Up app, where you can watch us live and see our previous shows, but we're also on YouTube. We'll be coming soon to several other of the social media platforms. Check out our website. Keep following us here on Mic'd Up, and let's have some more fun. We'll post the next topic here in the next day or two, and be ready to see you next week with some more valuable insight by old drunk guys.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Almanac.
Thank you, Almanac.
All right. See you next time.
Thank you.